Voice Service Club of GCT Youth. Tech Developers Community was education. Tech Developers Community was an educational service organization started with the motive for the welfare of society and students. Tech Developers Community is the best learning platform where hackathons, technical webinars, competition have been conducted. It's our immense pleasure to welcome everybody present here. Don't think to learn, learn to think. Yes, in today's session, we are about to talk about research and development as a career with Miss Acshah Joy Ponmani, our guest speaker. She pursued her studies at Government College of Technology, Coimbatore. Our guest speaker, Miss Acshah Joy Ponmani, a consistent, talented academic progressor, currently working at Flender Drives Limited as a graduate engineering trainee in Finite Element Analysis Department, mainly working under research and development. Also, she was the design head for SAE Tractor Design Competition for the year 2020. More miles to achieve, Miss Acshah Joy Ponmani. Okay, let's get into the session. The entire meet is going to be an interactive two-way communication session. You can also ask doubts regarding the session in the chat box, or else you can unmute yourself and ask. At the end of the session, a feedback form will be shared with the quiz questions. Participants are asked to fill the questions. E-certificate will be provided for all the participants. Now I hand over the session to Ms. Acshah Joy Ponmani. Now it's over to you.
Thank you, Vinusha, for the beautiful introduction. So, hi everyone, my name is Achsah and it's nice meeting you all. Can you all say hi, like unmuting and give me a small hi?
Hi, Ka.
Hi, Ka.
Hi, okay, good to know that your unmute button works. So when I'm presenting, I really hope that you guys unmute and ask questions if you have any questions, or if I'm asking any questions, I hope you unmute and answer. And the people who are texting in the chat, I'm really glad that you guys are involving, but when I'm presenting, I won't be able to see the chat. So it'll be really nice if you can unmute and speak instead of texting, okay? And if some of you have any problems with your mic, I hope Binusha can, you can text it in the chat and Binusha will tell it to me if anyone asks any questions. Is that fine? Is that fine, Binusha?
Yes, Ka. Sure, Ka.
Okay, fine. So first, before starting the presentation, I want to take a quick survey. So how many of you are from mechanical department? Like you can raise your hands, like virtually. No one is from mechanical department. Okay. How many of you are from civil department? One. Okay. Karthik, Pavitran, Kirtivasan. Okay. How many of you are from computer science? No one. Okay. Production. Okay. Electrical, electronics. Okay. Biotechnology. Okay. Okay. What else? Did I leave out any department? I think I said civil, right? Okay. So I think Binusha did not mention that I'm from mechanical department. I'm graduating this year actually. So my talk, I realized that many people will be from different departments. So I tried my best to, generalize the topic. And I hope you can all relate, and I hope you have fun listening to the session as well. So let's get started. Okay, is my screen visible?
Yes, Ka. Screen visible, Ka.
Yes,
Okay.
Ka.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so research and development as a career. Okay, let me give you a small story. When I was in like second year of my college studies, I wanted to be a research and development engineer. I had no clue what R&D was, but it sounded so cool. So I also wanted to be an R&D engineer. I told everyone who asked me, what are you going to be in the future? I said, I'm going to be an R&D engineer, but I had no clue. And to be honest, I'm working in an R&D company. I'm working in R&D department, and there are still a lot of things that I don't know about this. I don't know about this department. So I wanted to share with you things that I wish someone had told me when I was in college about research and development. So don't think of research and development as something that is just confined for mechanical or civil department, because every job that we do involves research and development. It may come as a different name. They may call it as software analysis or anything else, but the whole idea of research and development is just innovation and invention. So you will understand that and hope all of you will be able to relate to that as well. So first, what is research and development? Does anyone have any idea? You can unmute and speak.
Research and development, which is very popularly known as the R&D sector, is is almost prevalent in every manufacturing company, where they make slight changes to the product so that it gives handsome profit.
Yes, very good. What's your name?
My name is Pavitranka.
Pavitran, okay. Pavitran put it so beautifully, actually. There was this one term that he used that I loved very much. He said they change things slightly, and that is very accurate. And we'll know that as we go through, progress through the slides. So, exactly as Pavitran said, research and development is exactly like that. When you are inventing something, for example, for the mechanical engineers out there, when you are modeling a car or a bike or anything, any mechanical component, you need to research and you need to develop it, you need to improve it. And even for the electronics and electrical engineers here and the software engineers, when you're building a robot or you're building a software, even if you're creating an app, everything needs research and it needs development. For the civil engineers out there, every department in mechanical engineering needs research and development. So research and development, in simple words, it can be put as innovating and inventing new stuff. Okay, I believe that's very simple to understand, right? To innovate something that is already there or to invent something from scratch. So, where did research and development start? Like, let's go back. I like to start things from scratch, like understand things from the basic. So, let's rewind and go back to the basic. Now, I have a small question to you all. How many of you know how to cook? Boys and girls, you can just unmute and say yes if you know how to cook. Just basic, if you know how to make dosa, that's cooking only.
Yes, I know cooking.
Okay, wow.
Pesca.
Little bit.
Okay, fine. Many of you know how to cook. Okay, very good. So, even the people who do not know how to cook, we all can identify one thing. Amma in the dosela uppe illa. We all use this at least once a month. Uppe illa appadi sappunu irukku. Even if we don't know how to cook, we know how important salt is. But have you ever wondered who thought, okay, this sand looks so shiny and white, let's put it in food? Imagine who would have thought that இந்த மண்ணு நல்லா இருக்கு, வெள்ளை கலர்ல அழகா இருக்கு, எடுத்து சாப்பாடுல போட்டு பார்ப்போமா அப்படின்னு யார் நினைச்சிருப்பாங்க? அண்ட் ஈவன் இஃப் தே ஹேட் டேஸ்டட் இட் அண்ட் சா, என்னது இது ஒரு மாதிரி கறிக்குதுன்னு தான் நினைச்சிருப்பாங்க. இதை சாப்பாடுல போட்டா நல்லா இருக்கும் அப்படின்னு who would have thought? So the problem and the difficult part of research and development is starting from scratch. And let's first learn our history. So where did this all start? First, now we are making biryani, we're making lasagna, we're making pizza. But imagine the struggle of the very first person who made fire. To make something without even knowing what it is. If someone gives us two stones and are asking us to make fire, we cannot do it. Some people cannot even do it with the matchstick itself. So imagine people in the olden days did not know what fire was. They did not know what a wheel was. They did not know what weapons were. They did. Oh, sorry, just a minute. Okay. They did not know what weapons were. They did not know what tools were. They did not know what art was. But imagine the amount of intelligence it actually takes to did not even know what you're going to get, but still try. Imagine the confidence of the person striking two stones together and seeing, okay, what is this spark? What will happen if I strike it for long enough? He did not have any idea that it will make fire, right? So that is the difficult part. We all say now today current technology is so great. We are growing. Imagine 100 centuries ago we were all walking or we were all cycling, and now we have bikes, we have cars, we have electric vehicles, we have aeroplanes. But imagine the struggle of the very first person who invented a wheel. Knowing that you can actually do something so amazing, it would have taken it was probably not one person making it, right? It was years and years of progress to make such a small invention. Now it will seem like, hey, wheel dana, I can make it from scratch. But imagine the amount of intelligence that actually needed to put into, right? And also drawing. Like imagine they would have had coals. I'm guessing they probably had coals to draw. Hey, look, this man looks like you, and a summa yarachorthar would have drawn something. So these are all the things that are very difficult to invent something. It may seem so small, just a fire, just a wheel, just a tool, but it is very difficult. I'm not kidding, it's very difficult to create something new. Invention is not easy at all. And just like Pavitran said, he said R&D is something that is improving, a small improvement on a product that already exists. And that is very true. That is exactly what R&D engineers do. To start something from scratch takes years. I'm not talking about 5 or 10 years. It takes hundreds of years. It's not an easy job. But what we R&D engineers do is we take something that's already there, we make it better, we improve. That is how we bring and we add on to innovation. Is that clear? Does that make sense? Now, look at what we have achieved after so many years of innovation. Now, the civil engineers, you guys will start building amazing buildings, skyscrapers, and huge, huge things. The mechanical engineers out there, or even the electrical engineers out there. Now, windmills are floating on water. We have floating windmills that can actually float on water. And that is still a very fascinating topic. And for those of you who do not know, this is where I work. I'm working as a wind turbine uh, design analyst. Okay, so that is my work. So that fascinated me. I learned this only after joining the job. Okay, wind turbines can float. That is fascinating. Now we are moving towards self-driving cars. And where did all of this come from? All of this came from the history. All of this came from the history that started like million years ago, not million, 4,000 years ago, I think. So when humanity started, that is when our innovation started as well. So how did we grow in technology? How did we build so many things? The two key things are first is by passing on knowledge. That is very important. The people who made the wheel, we actually took their knowledge. Okay, they made a wheel. What will happen if we put an axle through it? Okay, we can attach two wheels together. Okay, what will happen if we put a plank on top of it? Okay, that is a cart. So that is how we actually pass on knowledge, and we use the knowledge that has been passed on and continuing where our predecessor left off. Imagine if we had started, okay, that person who made a wheel died. Okay, now we are going to start from scratch. That will make no sense. That is not any progress. What we are doing is taking where they left off, building small, small buildings, just small, small things that we can add. And that is what has brought us here today. That is what is the technology that we have today. And that is what our duty as an R&D engineer or even an engineer is, to add on to the creations that has already been there and to grow in technology and to grow in our field as well. So what do we have to do for this? That is the question that I want to ask you all today. So first, what is our history as engineers? What do you think? You can unmute and answer. So I just told for a cook, their history will be probably making of fire. So what is our history? What do you think is our history? Anything, any suggestions, any answers, any creative answer is welcome. There's no right answer, I'll tell you that.
I would say that for a civil engineer, the history would be first exploration. Early people used to live in caves, so first is going to be exploration, and after that, it went on with the construction part.
Yes, beautiful, very good, very well said. So that is actually beautiful. What's your name? Is it
Yeah, my name is Pavitranka.
okay, Pavitran again? I'm sorry, I'm not able to see you guys, so I should ask again. So, okay, Pavitran beautifully put it. So, for civil engineers, he said exploration, the thought of looking for something. Okay, this cave is boring. What if we can make our own cave? Or what if we can do something with this? Okay, that's a very beautiful insight. Anyone else? Any other department? Anything else?
So everything is engineering.
Hmm.
The core problem solving nature is the engineering. So if you are solving something, that engineering starts.
Akka, your voice is not audible.
Hello, Sasi.
அண்ணா அக்கா வாய்ஸ் ஆடிபிள் இல்லை, லெஃப்ட்
Okay,
ஆயிட்டாங்க,
okay.
நெட்ஒர்க் இஷ்யூ.
Okay,
கால்
okay. She
பண்ணுறேன்.
may join. Okay, okay. Let's guys wait பண்ணுங்க. She will join.
Participants are asked to wait few more minutes. Akka has network issue. She will join soon.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir,
Yes,
audible.
Akka.
I'm so
Yes, you are
sorry,
in.
my Wi-Fi suddenly went down. Yeah,
It's okay.
yeah. Okay, who was talking? I was only able to listen to half of it.
Think I'm the one speaking, right?
Yeah.
Sasi? Yeah. The engineering is the problem solving nature. When someone plans to solve a problem, their engineering starts. Each and everything. He planned to the first and foremost person planned to go in a wheel. So he or she engineered a wheel. So like that, everywhere the engineering is there.
Yes, that's beautifully said. Sasi, right? Your name
No,
is
Akka,
Sasi, right?
Dinesh.
Dinesh. I'm
Dinesh.
Dinesh,
Okay.
ka.
Okay, very good. That's beautifully said, Dinesh. So, exactly my point. So, engineering was born on curiosity. For example, when the apple fell on Newton, he was very curious. Okay, why did this fall down? That was probably a very ridiculous question. Everybody knows an apple falls down. But he asked the question, why? And like him, many other people before us, they asked a lot of questions. And they also managed to find a lot of answers. Some people didn't, some people did. But because of the questions that they raised, we are here right now. And that is our history. Our history as engineers is the principles and laws of nature. Okay, why am I saying laws of nature instead of saying laws of physics or laws of engineering? Because engineering is actually built on nature. Just like Dinesh said, everything around us has engineering in it. Even apple falling down, even us walking, everything has engineering in it. So what we humans manage to do, we manage to segregate into laws, into principles, and say, okay, this is why it's happening because of gravity. What is gravity? Two huge bodies attracting each other, the force, the binding force between a huge body and a very small body, that is gravity. So we manage to put principles and laws on it, and that is what our history is. Exactly, to put it in simple words, whatever you're learning in college, whatever the books you have, the college syllabus, that is what our history is. That is why we're learning so much. Imagine, from LKG till 12th we are learning, and after 12th also we're going to college. Some are doing masters, some are doing PhD, we're still learning. Why is there so much to learn? Have you ever wondered? I've actually read a funny quote. It just says, studying college is just us catching up on history. And that is very true. Because we are starting with speaking, right? We're starting with A, B, C, D. We're starting with language. And that is probably one of the first thing that happened. People trying to communicate to each other. And we start and we learn, okay, this is what happened. People learn to talk, people learn to cook, people learn to walk, people learn to do this, do that. And we're also catching up to it, and we're also learning. Until now, what I think we're doing is catching up to history. And that history is only going to help us build more. Just like he said, what is just R&D is just adding a little bit more to what we already have, right? So first, we should know what we already have. Does that make sense? Only when we know what we already have, we can add something. Without knowing what we already have, it's nothing. So that is why history is so important to us engineers to learn, and more than to learn, understanding. So now I have a question for you all. Understanding is more important than learning. So I have a small question. The question is, we all have heard songs. I bet every one of you has a headset. You all listen to good songs, whatever genres, pop or rock or jazz or anything that you like. So my question is, what is the principle behind music? Why does every note sound different than the other? How can we distinguish notes? How can we distinguish sound? Does anyone play any musical instruments here? Okay, I'm guessing not. Any singers here?
No, Akka.
Guitars.
Guitars. Oh, wow. Okay, then you should be able to answer this. Come on. What is the principle behind music? This is probably the first thing you should have learned in your music class. Okay, any guesses? It's
Not so
okay to
much
guess. Yes.
in music, I guess. No. Yeah, it's a sound.
Yeah.
Keys ka.
Keys. Okay. What is
Sound
a
getting
key?
in and out. And we are
Yeah.
just making obstacles for the sound, so it gets changes.
Yeah, that I understand. But how does it change? You know, like, we have a lot of chords, we have octaves, we have notes. So why is
We
C
need to change.
different
Yeah,
than D?
we intentionally change.
I'm asking you as an engineer, you should analyze it, okay? Not as a layperson. So as an engineer, I'm just expecting one word from you. What is the principle behind music? It's just one word. Okay, no, let's not go into
Reverberation.
music. Yes, reverberation.
It's reverberation.
Okay, that's very good. Okay, so that's a very good answer. Okay, so now to put it into a simple word, it's actually frequency. That's it. Reverberation, vibration, everything comes under frequency. And that's a very good answer. That's the actual correct answer. So, what is music? Music is actually just noise. Okay, it's just sound coming from our throat. And how does sound come from our throat? It comes through frequency. And I hope all of you, I don't know, I know that many people here are not musicians, but this is a very simple picture. It's actually a piano or a keyboard. Okay, so these are the notes in a keyboard, and I don't want you to go deep into it. But I bet all of you have seen a keyboard, right? So these are all the frequencies of each and every note present on a keyboard. So from the left, we'll call it the low notes. For example, guys have a low voice. You probably would have heard guys speaking in a very low voice. So just like that, the piano will have a lower end, and this will be the higher end. Higher end is the voice of girls. Girls have a higher voice. So this is the higher end. So what happens is, as from low to high, the frequency increases. That is, the frequency of vibration increases. And that is how we get music, because every note has a distinct frequency. Okay, does that make sense? And we can see that this is A. And we can see A repeating again. So A is 440 hertz, and this after one cycle, it is twice the amount. So this is 440 hertz and this is 880 hertz. So this is one cycle or one octave. So this is how we actually put frequency to good use. This is why we are actually learning about frequencies. So now I have another question. How many of you know what a natural frequency is? Does anyone know the answer? Natural frequency. Anyone?
No ka.
No. Okay. You didn't learn about natural frequency?
No
Fundamental
ka.
frequency.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Fundamental frequency.
Fundamental frequency. That's literally another term for natural frequency. I'm asking what it means. Anyone, any idea? I'm pretty sure all of you will give me a good definition for natural frequency. But understanding why we're learning something. Okay, now if I'm asking you what is Newton's first law, second law, third law, I'm pretty sure everyone will have an answer. But why did Newton make those laws? How can we relate that to real life? That is what is important. I bet all of you knew what frequency was. But very few, I think one or two probably knew how it affects music or how it affects our voice. Noise is actually a type of frequency. So this type of understanding is what we need. This type of understanding is what engineers need. And this is what is going to help each and every one of you progress. So when you're learning about something, I know books are boring. I know college lectures, long lectures will be hectic. But what I want you to do is take a book, read a word, okay, frequency, Google frequency. Now you have the internet in your hand. YouTube, what is actually frequency? Why do we need frequency? You'll find a lot of interesting videos, a lot of interesting articles. Read that. Study to pass, but also learn, understand, because that is you helping your future self. And that is how you can also keep up with history. So this is very important. What is learning our history and understanding our history as well, understanding the principles. I think Dinesh said that physics is everywhere, engineering is everywhere. So where is it? That I want you all to understand. What is the principle in a computer? How does a computer run? How can we hear this? How does this happen? How do we speak? How do we walk? How do we balance? How do we stay upright when we are walking? These kind of basic things we should be able to know. we should be able to understand. That is the main quality of an R&D engineer. So now let's get into some technical things. I'm pretty sure the civil department students would have seen this diagram, or maybe you will see this diagram in your third year or fourth year. I think most of your second years, right? So you'll be seeing this in the future. So this is a product development cycle. And actually this cycle can be even bigger, but I've consolidated into 5 main topics. Research, design, analysis, and production. So first, I'll start with need. And need, I'll tell you this simply. Need is understanding the needs of a market. For example, first I'll tell you this, okay, I'm sorry. Product development is, for example, you're developing a product. For example, you're going to release a new mobile phone. Or for example, you're going to build a new building. You're going to develop a new type of concrete or anything. You're going to develop something. First, what you have to do is analyze the need of the society, because something that is very needed in the UK or in a different country might not be needed in India, or might not be affordable by the people in India. So first and foremost step of product development is analyzing the need and analyzing your stakeholders. What is stakeholders? Who are stakeholders? So this is the question I want you to learn about today. So stakeholders are no one but the people who are affected because of your product. For example, your company co-workers. You are owning a company, you're having a business company, and you have your workers. They are going to get affected by your product. So first stakeholders are the co-workers, your owners, your employees. They are internal co-workers, internal stakeholders. And the external stakeholders are first and foremost your customers. Whom are you selling to? And your suppliers. Whom can we get supplies from? Will I be able to get supplies in India? Or will I have to go abroad and get supplies? Will I be able to get this in a very cheaper price? And your investors, can I convince people to invest in this product? Will people be interested to invest in this product? How do I market it to them? How do I make them? How do I convince them? Your creditors, your media, okay, how do I publicize this in media? How do I do this? And everything, government agencies and trademarking and everything, this is very important for you to understand. If you're developing a product on your own or even as a part of a company, the first and foremost step is to analyze the need. For example, you would have seen a lot of surveys. There are like a lot of survey apps you can actually join, and there people will pay you money to attend surveys. Why are surveys so important? Because through surveys, companies can understand you. People trying to sell things to you will ask you questions first. So that way they can understand how to sell it to you, what to sell it to you, what is your actual need. For example, there are a lot of girls here, right? How many girls have felt, why are there no pockets in jeans for girls? That is a very big question mark, and I'm pretty sure most of you would have felt it. And that is a need. That is a need for girls. And if some company would have actually listened to it, okay, girls also need pockets. They also have cell phones to keep it in their pockets. They would have actually made good money out of it. And there are good companies that actually do that too. So understanding what the customer wants, understanding it properly, that is why we have to talk to the stakeholders, have a meeting, organize a meeting, understand, talk to them, communicate to them in person, and first of all, understand what the market needs. Because as a business person, you will have very many creative ideas. Okay, and you might have a very cool idea of, building a house made of wood and furnishing it really well. But what do the people who are buying it need? That is very important, because you can't make a product that no one is going to buy. So the first step of research and development is to understand the market, to understand the needs. Okay, is that clear? Yes, okay. So the next step is research. Okay, now I'll put this plain and blank in front of you. Research is the heart of R&D. And anything else is next only. First priority is research. Research is the most important thing that an R&D engineer should do. Why? Because here is where history comes in. You cannot strain and work hard on something that has already been manufactured, something that is already existing. So first, what you have to do is research. Learn what has already been done. For example, you're going to do a
அவங்க இப்போ
okay.
வேலைக்கு போயிட்டு இருப்பாங்கல்ல, எப்படி போனாங்க, என்ன கத்துக்கிட்டாங்கன்னு?
Hello, who's that? Okay. We'll continue.
Nothing, Ka.
Okay, that's fine. So, research is us understanding what is already there in the market. Okay, and to give you a fact, research is the most time consuming part of all the five elements that I told. Of all the five elements, we have design, we have analysis, we have production, but I tell you, research is the most time consuming one because your product is only as good as your research. I've told you that I work in wind technology. We manufacture wind turbines. And wind turbine manufacturers, they actually spend 5 to 10 years just to choose a good location for their wind turbines. I was very shocked listening to this. I was like, you spent 10 years to choose a good location? How hard can that be? But you know what they'll do? They'll take these devices, sensors, and they'll plant it on different terrains, different places that they potentially choose. They potentially think are worth. And what they'll do is they'll collect wind data over the years. Okay, how fast that does this wind go? At what altitude will I get the west wind or the fastest wind? Where will I get turbulent wind? Where will I get streamlined wind? Because we don't want turbulent wind. That will just mess up the wind turbine. We want a streamlined wind. So at which altitude is it fine? How far it from the seashore? So they do a lot of research from minimum 5 years. They do a research just to plant a wind farm, just to find the location, just to make sure this location, just to finalize the location, they take 5 years. And that is how important research is. And why is that so important? Because you can't just place a wind turbine in any place. Because if you're not getting the desired result, even 1% less efficiency if you get, that will result in crores and crores of loss. That is how important research and development is, and that is how important research is in research and development. So research is a lot of types. First is understanding what has already been done before. Next is understanding your situations, understanding your rules, understanding your guidelines. Because for example, wind turbine has a lot of guidelines, a lot of rule books. If you guys have participated in any competitions, every competition will give you a rule book, right? You'll have to follow the rules, you'll have to do this. Don't go for competitions. If you're going to play a match, volleyball, tennis, cricket, you'll be given a rule book. Just like that, any product you're designing will have a rule book, and you have to follow the rule book. So first you should research the rule book. You should understand which rule book you're going to choose. Sometimes you'll have the liberty, sometimes you won't. So research is very important in your product development side. And this, as students, we often overlook this. When we are given our mini projects, when we are asked to do our final projects, we just jump straight into the project. We don't do research. But that is why our staff stress on so much. Okay, read these journals, read these references, read what has already been done. Only then you will get an idea. So research is actually very important. The more time you spend on research, the more better your product will actually be. And it will actually give you more ideas also. Reading what innovations other people have done on the same topic, you'll also get a lot of innovative ideas. So research is very important. The next is design. So I have to ask you, what comes in your mind when I say design? Anyone? What do you think designing is? Yes.
Before
Giving
manufacturing
farm
the
ka.
I'm sorry, one person at a time, please.
Akka, giving farm to some product ka.
Giving form. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, next.
before manufacturing the product, we have to design the car.
Okay, very good. So before manufacturing, we have to have a plan. We have to have a plan. So that is, for engineering term, it's a drawing, right? We all have learned engineering graphics in first year itself. So we all know how to make an engineering drawing. Depending on our stream, we all have different forms of research. For example, designs. For example, I don't know what computer engineers have, but for civil engineers, you'll have layouts. For example, projection view of a house, how the plan of the house, the elevation of the house, and everyone will have a form of design. And you have a lot of softwares. I know what software mechanical engineers use. We use AutoCAD, we use CATIA, we use ProE, we use a lot of design softwares. And I believe civil engineers also use CATIA. And you might have a lot of softwares. Electrical engineers will have softwares for circuits. I don't know the name of it, please pardon me. And everyone has a lot of softwares for design. But This is not the difficult part. I'll tell you this. This is not the difficult part. Learning to use a software is not the difficult part at all. Because design softwares are just like a complex form of using MS Paint. That's it. They just put into picture your idea that's in your head. But the difficult part is coming up with that idea. That idea in your head, that is the difficult part. So I heard that one of you here is a guitarist, and I'm pretty sure some of you can sing, some of you can write. Many of you have a lot of talents. But my question is, what makes an artist? What makes a singer? What makes a musician? They all have skills. Yes, if you give them a sheet of notes, they can play probably. If you give an artist a piece of paper, they can create a beautiful drawing. But my question is, skill matters. Yes, it definitely matters. Skill is very necessary. But more important than that is knowledge. Because an artist's talent shouldn't come from just copying a picture. If an artist is drawing, okay, if you give me a picture of this, I can draw the same. Okay, fine, that is skill. But what will make them special is if they can draw something from imagination, if they can draw something from creativity, if they can learn how drawing is, because drawing is not a simple task. Okay, just I can take a piece of paper, I can just draw this, I can just color it. That is not how simple it is. Real artists, I know many of you will know this. It takes a lot of skill, and it also takes a lot of effort, and it also takes a lot of understanding the knowledge. You have perspectives, 3-point perspectives, 2-point perspectives, bird eye view, worm view, and everything. So these understandings also very much matters. And even for everything that we do, the knowledge of it matters. This is the same for a design engineer also. To put your idea into paper, to draw your idea, or to write down your idea, or to, like, draw your idea in a software is very easy. But what is difficult is to come up with an idea, to build, just like I forgot his name, but yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm very bad with names. Just like you said, the thing is, building a small thing is not very easy. It may seem like, okay, I'm just gonna add a small detail to it. I'm just gonna add this thing to it, but it is not at all simple. You have to know your history first. And then the design engineer's main job is to put the research data into good use. Because I told you, we take 5 to 10 years to research a location for a wind turbine. What a design engineer's role is to take all the data, all the wind data, and analyze, okay, fine. Because just as I said, even 0.001% efficiency loss will cost crores. People will lose crores. So that is why it is so important for a design engineer. And being a design engineer is the most difficult task. You guys might be in any sector, being app developers, web developers, construction engineers, or mechanical engineers or biotechnology engineers. Whatever you guys do, coming up with something, designing something is not an easy task. And where does drawing come in? Drawing is just for you to communicate to your coworkers or customers, because you can't explain something that is in your head. You can't do formulas. You can't show formulas to people. So what you do then, you just draw. Okay, for example, you're a civil engineer, you're building a house. You can't explain to that person, okay, I'm having a beam here because this load will act here and the water tank is above. So I need a beam here for extra support. You can't go and explain to your customer that. You can just draw them and show it to them for them to understand it better, for your other department to understand it better, for your co-workers to understand it better. That is where drawing comes in. Design engineer's role is not just drawing. So this is something that I want you all to understand. And you know what? I am actually going through training in my workspace. And yesterday we had a 5-hour session on learning a design software called NX. So it is also a CAD software. It took us only 5 hours to learn it. And our company was willingly teaching that. It did not matter to them that if we knew the software before we joined or not, because it only took them 5 hours to teach us. Learning a software is easy, but why are you drawing that? Why is that design like that? Why is that beam going that way? That understanding that is difficult, and modeling that is difficult. Now, the fourth part is analysis. So analysis might not come in a few departments. I think computer science developers will have quality check, right? So if you're developing an app, you'll have a quality checking person, quality inspector. So that person's role is to check and make sure everything is working. The app doesn't crash or the website doesn't crash. Just like that, civil engineers and mechanical engineers will have analysts who will make sure that the object doesn't fail. For example, you're designing a car. You should make sure that even when the car crashes, the person inside it is as safe as possible. So analysis is very important, and this is actually what I do. This is my job as a finite element analysis. My job is to make sure that the windmill doesn't fail. And you won't believe this, but every time I approve a design, I have to sign saying that if this wind turbine fails, I am purely responsible. So if any design that I approve fails, then yeah, I will be in prison. So that is how important this job is. For example, you're manufacturing, don't think about this manufacturing this airplane. I'm talking about this clamp. This clamp that is fixed to the ground, that is making sure the wheel is positioned correctly. Manufacturing this clamp will take a lot of effort and it will take a lot of analysis, and you should make sure that with the weight of the plane on it or the force acting on it will not break it or will not damage it. Or if it is going to be damaged, you should predict after how many years it will damage so that you'll be able to replace it before. Okay, so how many of you ride a bike, a scooty, or a car, anything? Anyone who knows to ride? Anyone? No one knows to ride?
I hope that everyone knows to ride.
I'm sorry?
I hope that everyone knows to ride.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so let's assume that everyone knows how to ride. Have you ever done a service for your bike or your scooty or your car? Have you ever serviced your vehicle?
If they haven't, driving it.
Okay, fine. So when you service your vehicle, they'll tell you, okay, your bike has run for 1,000 kilometers now. So now we are going to change your oil. Okay, after 15,000 kilometers, after your vehicle has run 15,000 kilometers, we'll change your air filter. So they'll know that the lifetime of an air filter is 15,000 kilometers. After that, you have to change it. Okay, sometimes components fail. We can't, stop components from failing, but we can predict when it's going to fail so that we can change it, so that no big damage will happen or no lives will be lost. So that is how important an analysis is to a project. So now I'll ask you a simple question. I hope all of you at least know how to ride a bike. Many of you didn't answer when I asked you if you know how to ride a car or a bike, but I'm asking you if you know how to ride a cycle.
Yes, car.
Okay, very good. So now I have a question for you. So there are two bikers here, one person, two person. So can any one of you tell me where the force of these riders will act on the bicycle? At what points? It is not one point. I'll tell you that it is three or more points. So at which point do you think will their force act on the bike? If I'm analyzing this bike, making sure this bike won't break when two people sit on it, where should I put the force and make my calculations? Where? Anyone, any idea?
On the center, car.
On the center means here.
Like centripetal force is acting to balance the cycle, car.
Centripetal force will not come here, dear. Okay, that is different. Okay. That's a good try. Very good. She's saying all the force will concentrate in the middle, in the center of gravity, right? That is what you were trying to say, right?
Yes, car.
Okay, she was trying to say center of gravity. Instead, she said centripetal force. Okay. She says all the force will act on the center of gravity. Yes, that is a very good answer. Very good observation. Anyone else? Anyone else? Where do you think these two people's force will act on the bike? It's very simple. When I tell you the answer, cha, evlo and you'll think. Anyone? Okay, fine. I'll tell you the answer. So there are 3 points where their forces will act. One is their seat, because obviously they're sitting on it. So their seat will experience a good amount of their body weight. Their pedal, because they're pushing the pedal, right? They're pushing the pedal down. So the pedal will also handle a good amount of force, and their handlebar. because they are also putting effort into it. So simple words, we can say that wherever they are having contact with the bike, only 3 points they are having contact, right? One is the handlebar, the seat, and the pedal. So wherever they are having contact, there'll be force. So force is transmitted through contact. So this is something that you should understand as an analysis engineer. Okay, for example, civil engineers, where will force act? Which part will my beam be affected when I'm constructing a building or if I'm constructing a bridge? Where the most force will concentrate? How will that happen? How will that affect my design? How should I model this design? How should I model this design based on the climatic condition of the place? These are all very important for an analysis engineer to know. This is the main role of an analysis engineer. So we're almost close to the end of the presentation. So hang on tight for a few more minutes. So the last is production. Happada, now we've crossed all the parts and now we're finally giving the part to production. So what will be the huge role of the production engineer? He has the design. The design is approved. The analysis engineer said the design will not fail. You can produce. So what is the role of the production engineer? The production engineer has three main roles. One is the production engineer should be able to read the drawings that the design engineer has made. You should be able to read the drawings because no one is going to come and tell him, okay, this part is going to be like this part is going to be like that. You have to manufacture it like that. They're just going to send him a drawing. And this production engineer, he or she must know to read the drawing. Second is they must plan the process so that it is not time consuming. It is very efficient and not all materials are going to waste. And the third is make sure that the design is machinable. A production engineer's work starts from design itself. Because when a design engineer is designing something, he will not know if the product can be manufactured or not. Because we don't have a lot of tools or a lot of equipments to manufacture everything that we think. We have certain standard objects, standard shapes like rectangle, triangle, circle. These kind of things we can manufacture, but you cannot manufacture obscure shapes or obscure vague designs. So the design engineer should make sure that the design is manufacturable. So that also he should be able to do it with the production engineer. So this is the main role of a production engineer. So I believe that this all sums up what research and development is and how each and every department plays a very major role. And I hope this also helps you understand what you can do as a design engineer, how you can equip yourself as a design engineer as well. So any questions you can ask.
Participants can ask your questions.
Hello, Ka.
Yes.
Yes, Ka. I have a question regarding research and development, and
Yes.
it's about higher studies. So
Hmm.
I'm currently a civil engineering student. So what's the scope for doing higher studies in research? As I have gone through certain as I have browsed to the net, I have seen that ISC Bangalore is a research university. So, what are the best institutions for research, and how to shape our career in R&D? In case you are going for a teaching position, or you are going to work as an R&D person in any private concern, or even the government.
Okay, so I'll answer your second question first. Your question was how to shape yourself as an R&D. That's a very interesting question because this is the time you can actually do that. Because you're all students and you're all learning. As I already said, the design engineer, an R&D specialist must know what has already been done, must be able to understand things. So what you can do is being a civil engineer, you can just learn your subjects but with more understanding, if that makes sense. I don't know what subjects you have. I probably you have environmental structures and subjects related to that and railway management, I think. So you'll have subjects related to buildings and structures, right? So when you are learning, try to apply that. Try to research, Google it, YouTube it. There are a lot of good YouTube videos. Just learn what stress is. Something as simple as stress. I thought I knew what stress was when I was your age. When I was in second year, when I was in first year, I thought, okay, this is stress. But when I came here, I understood. When I came to my job, I understood what stress actually is, how stress affects a beam or how stress affects a design. So that is what is expected from you, to understand what you're learning and to be able to relate it to real life, if that makes sense. So that is one thing. And for your first question, that's actually a really good idea, because being an R&D engineer, the scope is actually very less in India compared to other countries, and that's the actual truth. For mechanical engineers, Germany is like the best place you can go. For civil engineers, I'm not sure where, but you have a lot of industries that are offering courses, higher studies, even in abroad. Even in Norway, you can actually get education for free. I'm not very sure of good colleges for civil department per se, but if I can research it and I can actually let you know through Sujita, right? Is she here? Yeah, Sujita is
Yes,
here.
Ka.
So,
Yeah,
yeah,
Ka.
I
I'll
can
let
let you know
Okay, okay.
through her. Okay?
Okay, Ka. Then
Yeah.
I have another question.
Yeah.
That is, yes, in India, particularly, research is not much appreciated in our colleges, even though there are many top universities. But when you
Hmm.
have foreign universities, that is, I mostly get confused with the rankings. When I saw several rankings of universities in USA, I could
Hmm.
understand that even the rankings were below. The QS rankings were like, for example, the Arizona State University, which
Hmm.
ranks at around 400 to 500. But yeah, they many say that even though it have a much lesser rank than the IITs, many say that it is a very good university. Arizona State University is a very good university. So on
Hmm.
what basis actually these rankings are being done, and how they are saying that even though they are a low ranked university when compared to what we have in India, it's a good university. And let me complete with one last question.
Hmm.
My last question is, when we do, is it advisable to do a master's by research or a thought master's for an R&D, and how to approach publishing papers in a journal?
Okay, publishing papers. Okay, I'll start with that. Publishing papers, for that you actually need a guide. Okay. You can ask someone from our own college, some staff members, to help you with that, because first of all you need facilities to publish something. You can't just publish a theory. You need to have proof, experimentally prove it. You need equipments. You can actually use our equipments in the college also. Just need to get permission, but I don't know how it will work in this lockdown. But first of all, you actually need a guide for that, and that will really help you. I'm saying this to you because you're a student. When you are actually growing up, and if you're working, I would say you can do that on your own. But now it's actually very advisable for you to approach someone from your department and ask for their guideship to publish a paper, and that's a really good thing if you're wanting to publish a paper. And secondly, about the colleges, right? The ranking system, yeah, the ranking system says IIT is very good, and actually that is very true. IITs are very good, and that is why we have such competitions to get into IITs. And the ranking system, I'll advise you not to look at the ranking system. I'll just ask you to understand what you want. What do you want from from learning research? And for that, you can just check the syllabus of the college. You can actually download that online. Check the syllabus, what and all are there, what sector do you actually want to get into, be very specific, and how do you want to learn, because IIT will be very stressful. If you can handle the stress, then IIT is the best place for you. I don't know about Arizona University, but if that is little less stressful, and I bet it will be stressful, but compare it to IIT, if you can handle the stress, if you can handle being in a foreign country, if you can do that really well, then that is the place for you. Because what it depends on totally on you. I'll actually not suggest looking at the ranks, because it's totally based on how much students apply there, and how good the research programs there is, how many papers they've published, and those kind of things will be taken into account when they are like ranking colleges. Does that make sense? It will be totally on an academic point of view, like how much the college has achieved, how many people have completed PhD in that college, how many people have researched in that college. But it will not be based on the students. So what you can do is, you can just look at the syllabus, learn what you can do, see if it makes sense. And if you're not very sure of doing higher studies, what I'll suggest actually is work for 1 or 2 years in a research and development company. Learn what it is, see if you really like it, because research and development can work two ways. You can actually start your own company, start a business, and you can actually progress with that. Or you can actually work as a part of company, work in a foreign country, and grow as that also. But either way, even if you're starting a business or you're learning, the best experience is actually hands-on experience for you to learn. So try to join, if you can, if you wish to join a company, see the working there. If it interests you, then if you think studying will help you, you can go ahead and study. And then you will also be very clear about the industry. Sorry, the colleges that you have to choose as well. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, thank you so much, class.
Yes, thank you. Anyone else? Any other questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
Well, considering a design software, it's upon our interest. Okay, we can learn by ourselves.
Yeah.
How did you approach designing software? You can you know many designing softwares being a mechanical engineer.
Yeah.
So how many softwares do you know related to design and simulation, and how do you learn by your own interest? How do you start learning designing
Okay,
software?
which department are you from?
I am from mechanical.
You're from mechanical,
Akka,
right? Which
I have
software do you?
also from this which software is best to use as a mechanical production engineer?
Okay, you're from production. Okay.
Yes, Akka.
Okay, which software do you know?
I know SolidWorks, AutoCAD, Akka, and
Okay,
Creo.
what about Saravanan? What do you know? Which software do you know?
I know Creo alone.
Okay, let me tell you this, that is enough. For as far as a design software is concerned, Creo or SolidWorks, any one software is enough. Because I think, Sasi, you have like worked with SolidWorks, Creo, and AutoCAD, right? You can actually see that it's actually the same software. It's just the UI will be different. User interface will be different. It'll just look different, but the features and tools are all same. Why are you wasting so much time learning that? As I told you yesterday, you know NX, right? NX by Siemens. I'm actually working under Siemens, so I have to use NX. It totally depends on your company. Because my company is Siemens, they're asking me to use NX. Just like that, when you're working for a company, they'll ask you to use a software. And the catch is they'll actually teach you to use the software as well. Example, yesterday I had a 5-hour session. They taught me NX in 5 hours. That was all it took. So learning a software is not at all difficult, and it is not needed. It is not required from you as well. What like recruiters expect from you is the knowledge, how you're learning, what understanding do you have, how much did you understand what you learned. That is very important. And if I have to give you a very small tip on, getting placed, if you guys are planning to get placed, is learning about the company. For example, my company was they are manufacturing wind turbines, and I got placed through college only. So what I did was I learned about wind turbines. Learning about the company and what they are doing will help you pass the interview, because they are going to ask you questions only about their product. They're not going to ask you anything else. So they asked me about wind turbines in the interview, and I was able to answer. So that is how much they are asking you, how much interest you are taking in them. That is all it is needed. And for analysis software, I know answers. I learned answers in college only. You can learn answers, it's a great tool. But even there, what I'll say is you can actually uh, understand answers, because it's just simple, right? Using a CAD software is like a very complex version of MS Paint. That's it. Even a kid can say, okay, click this button, click it, extrude, revolve, they can draw. But you should be able to say, why am I drawing this? That is what is important. So even if you're learning answers or hyperworks or abacus, you should be able to say, why am I calculating the stress of this product? How is this being calculated? So that is what you have to learn. That is what you need to know. There are a lot of good courses in edX, in Coursera, that I actually did. In after joining work, they asked me to do all these courses. So you can actually do those courses. Not courses on how to draw an answers, how to simulate an answers, but courses on why are we simulating an answers. I'll also share these links to Sujita as well, the course links. You can try doing those courses. I think I have 3 courses. Is that fine, both of you?
Yes, okay. I have another one doubt.
Yeah.
Yes, Akka.
Well, approaching for an internship in several companies, and they said mainly you will be working under the R&Ds. Okay. But what I thought is, while getting into industry for internship, we can learn something. But most of the on 3 to 4 companies, they said that you will be mostly working under R&Ds. Okay.
Okay.
At this stage we should learn the things, right? So
Yeah.
then we can apply it in the R&D. So will you suggest for me to go on internship with R&D, or working, or learning through working?
No, no, no. I'll suggest an internship only because the quickest way to learn is through experience. You can try sit with the book for hours and hours, but அவ்வளோ நேரம் one day full book வச்சுட்டு படிக்கிறத விட 5 minutes experience will teach you a lot.
அக்கா,
So,
அது
yeah.
கேட்கலக்கா. அக்கா, இப்ப இன்டர்ன்ஷிப் போகும்போது அவங்க என்ன சொன்னாங்கன்னா, நீங்க இப்ப R&Dல தான் வந்து R&D செக்ஷன்ல தான் வந்து இன்டர்ன்ஷிப் டைம்ல R&D டைம்ல தான் இருக்கிற மாதிரி இருக்கும் மோஸ்டா, அப்படின்ற மாதிரி தான் அவங்க சொன்னாங்க.
Okay.
2-3 கம்பெனிஸ்ல. ஸோ கம்பெனிஸ்ல ஒர்க் பண்ற மாதிரி அவங்க எடுத்த உடனே உள்ள ஒர்க் பண்றதுக்கு அலோவ் பண்ணல. அவங்க இன்டர்ன்ஷிப்பே வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா மோஸ்டா R&Dஸ்ல ஸ்பெண்ட் பண்ற மாதிரி தான் சொன்னாங்க.
R&D means, what do you mean by R&D? Like what kind of work?
டெவலப்மெண்ட் மாதிரி. பம்ப்ஸ் இருக்குல்லக்கா, நான் வந்து பம்ப்ஸ் இதுல கேட்டேன், வெஸ்டர்ன் பம்ப்ஸ். ஸோ அந்த மாதிரி பம்ப்ஸ் இதுல 2-3 இதுல கேட்டோம். அப்ப கேட்ட போது அவங்க சொன்னது இந்த மாதிரி டிசைன் ரிலேட்டடா R&Dஸ்ல தான் நீங்க வந்து பாக்குற மாதிரி இருக்கும் அப்படின்ற மாதிரி சொன்னாங்க. அவங்க
Yeah. See, R&D na, don't mistake that they're just gonna ask you, okay, draw this, draw that. Okay. It will be very insightful. Yeah, if you're designing a pump, vechiko, you're maybe designing it or analyzing it, you'll know what are all the parameters that are important. For example, and the valve would inlet diameter. Okay, inlet diameter vandittu kammiya irundhuchna fluid pressure will be increasing, or things like that you'll be able to learn. ஓகே, டிசைன்னா வந்து ஜஸ்ட் ஓகே ட்ரா திஸ் அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு நம்ம கேட் கிளாஸ்ல வந்துட்டு கொடுக்குற மாதிரி தே won't give. ஓகே, இந்த பிக்சரை பார்த்து அப்படியே வரைங்கன்னு தே won't tell you. ஓகேவா, யூல் ஹாவ் டு டூ கால்குலேஷன்ஸ். ஓகே ஃபைன், எனக்கு வந்து இப்போ ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் யூ ஆர் டிசைனிங் அ பைப்னே வச்சுக்கோ, ஒரு பைப் டிசைன் பண்ற. உனக்கு வந்து இப்போ ஷவர் பைப் நீ டிசைன் பண்ற. ஓகேவா, உனக்கு ஷவர் வந்துட்டு உனக்கு இந்த ப்ரெஷர்ல வெளியே வரணும் உனக்கு. அண்ட் இந்த நீ ஹாட் வாட்டர் யூஸ் பண்ணுவ அந்த பைப்ல. ஓகேவா, ஸோ பைப்ல உனக்கு ஹாட் வாட்டரும் வரும். அந்த ஹாட் வாட்டரும் அது வித்ஸ்டாண்ட் பண்ணணும். பைப் வந்துட்டு அந்த ஹாட் வாட்டர்ல பெண்ட் ஆயிடக்கூடாது, ஷேப் மாறி இருக்கக்கூடாது, ரஸ்ட் ஆயிடக்கூடாது. ஸோ அதெல்லாம் பார்த்து நீ மெட்டீரியல் பார்த்து சூஸ் பண்ணுவோம். இந்த மெட்டீரியல் இந்த டெம்பரேச்சர் வந்துட்டு வித்ஸ்டாண்ட் பண்ணாது, ரஸ்ட் ஆயிரும். ஸோ இந்த மெட்டீரியல் நான் யூஸ் பண்ணலாம், இந்த மெட்டீரியல் கொஞ்சம் காஸ்ட்லி, பட் இந்த மெட்டீரியல் நான் யூஸ் பண்ணா ரஸ்ட் ஆகாது அப்படின்னு சொல்லி நீ சூஸ் பண்ணணும் மெட்டீரியல். அது மெட்டீரியல் சூஸ் பண்ணி தென் எந்த டயாமீட்டர்ல நீ பைப் இருந்துச்சுன்னா உனக்கு வாட்டர் ஃபோர்ஸ் எவ்வளோ வரும், இந்த மாதிரி திங்ஸ் ஆல் டிட்டர்மைனிங் இஸ் ஒன்லி டிசைன் இன்ஜினியர்ஸ் ஒர்க். அதுக்கப்புறமா நீ அதை சாஃப்ட்வேர்ல வரையறது இஸ் த ஈஸி பார்ட். ஓகேவா, பட் ஐல் பி வெரி ஆனஸ்ட் வித் யூ, நீ இன்டர்ன்ஷிப்க்கு தான் போறேன்னா தே மைட் நாட் ஆஸ்க் யூ டு டூ ஆல் தி கால்குலேஷன்ஸ். தே மைட் ஜஸ்ட் யூஸ் யூ டு ட்ரா, இதை வரைஞ்சு கொடுத்துருப்பான்னு சொன்னாலும் சொல்லுவாங்க. பட் ஈவன் தென் யூ கேன் ஆஸ்க் கொஸ்டின்ஸ். ஓகே சார், இதுக்கு ஏன் இந்த டயாமீட்டர் இருக்கு, ஏன் இந்த மெட்டீரியல் யூஸ் பண்றோம், இதை எப்படி நம்ம மேனுஃபேக்சர் பண்ண போறோம், இந்த பைப்பை கேஸ்டிங் பண்ண போறோமா இல்ல மெஷினிங் பண்ண போறோமா. யூ கேன் ஆஸ்க் தெம் கொஸ்டின்ஸ், யூ கேன் பிக் தேர் பிரெயின்ஸ். ஓகேவா, ஸோ எனி இன்டர்ன்ஷிப் just take it. R&Dனா take it, because உனக்கு கொடுக்குற வேலை சும்மா இதை வரப்பா இந்த கேட்ல டிராயிங் போடுப்பான்னு கொடுத்தாலும் you can just pick their brains. ஏன் சார் இது இப்படி போடுறோம், ஏன் சார் திடீர்னு வந்து இந்த தம்பி மெட்டீரியலை மாத்தி இருப்பானா, ஏன் சார் மாத்துறோம், இதெல்லாம் you can ask. So don't hesitate, just go for it. That's what I'll say.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
அக்கா ஒரே ஒரு டவுட். இப்போ வந்து ஆல்ரெடி கேட்டுதான், தப்பா நினைச்சுக்காது, மறுபடியும் கேட்குறேன்ட்டு. த திங் இஸ் இன்சைட் கண்ட்ரியில் வந்து இப்போ ரிசர்ச் அதெல்லாம் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா எஸ் இட்ஸ் கோயிங் ஆன், பட் ஸ்டில் இட்ஸ் அண்ட் லிமிடெட் ஸ்கேல்ற மாதிரி தான் இருக்கு. ஸோ இன்கேஸ் நம்ம ரிசர்ச்சில் வந்து ஈடுபடணும் அப்படின்ற ஒரு ஆசை இருந்ததுன்னா இட்ஸ் பெட்டர் வி கோ அவுட் தி கண்ட்ரி ஆர் இட்ஸ் பெட்டர் டு கோ இன், இங்கே இருந்து பண்ணுறது ஓகேங்களா?
You're talking about working.
Yeah, both working as well as if you want to study.
Okay, studying வந்துட்டு I'll suggest good IITs or a really good standard college. Okay, studying வந்துட்டு now I'll really, if you want to get into research now, I'll not suggest a college like GCT, not a government college at all. Because research in ஒரு point of view just for the sake of studying எனக்கு ஒரு டிகிரி வேணும் அப்படின்னா ஓகே மாஸ்டர்ஸ் வந்து GCT government collegeல பண்றது is a good idea. But if you're gonna do research and if you actually want to study for the sake of knowledge, then you should actually do it in a good college like
IITs or the NITs.
IITs, NITs,
Okay.
and VITs, and the Mary colleges. Or even certain colleges might not be very popular, but they might be actually good. I heard that Anna University CG campus or a masters is actually really good. So kind of research. There are certain colleges that can still be cheap and actually give you a good education as well. Because don't think, okay, in the college la padicha, okay, VIT la placement evlo irukku, in the college la idu evlo irukku, adu evlo irukku. Because look at it in the knowledge point of view. In the college உனக்கு knowledge
Sure.
actually நிறைய தரும் அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு. And
அக்கா
regarding work, yeah.
அக்கா நம்ம இது ஒரு பிராண்ட் அப்படின்றது எப்பவுமே இருக்கும். எஸ்பெஷலி இப்போ இந்த ஐஐடிஸ் என்ஐடிஸ்ன்னு போகும்போது இப்போ ஜிசிடி ஒரு பிராண்டு தான் ஆக்சுவலி
Yeah.
நம்ம சொல்கிறோம். ஸோ வென் இட் கோஸ் ஆன் பிராண்டிங் தட் இஸ் டிஃப்ரெண்ட் ஸ்டோரி. பட் அதையும் தாண்டி அந்த நீங்கள் சொன்ன மாதிரி ரிசர்ச் ஒர்க் இன்சைட் தி கிரவுண்ட், அதாவது ஆன் தி கிரவுண்ட் என்ன இருக்குது அப்படின்ற பார்க்கும்போது ஒன் மேஜர் கொஸ்டின் விச் ஆல்வேஸ் ரிவால்வ்ஸ் அரவுண்ட் மை மைண்ட் இஸ், in case if there is you get an opportunity in two cases. One you have in India, an IIT, or in a foreign university which offers you your நமக்கு என்ன தேவையோ அங்கேயும் ஆஃபர் பண்ணுறாங்க, பட் விச் இஸ் we say இந்த ரேங்கிங்கில் பெட்டராக இருக்குது. ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் இஃப் யூ டேக் அவுட் நேஷனல் யூனிவர்சிட்டி ஆஃப் சிங்கப்பூர் ஆர் தி எம்ஐடி ஆர் தி யூனிவர்சிட்டி ஆஃப் கலிஃபோர்னியா, பெர்க்லி, லாஸ் ஏஞ்சல்ஸ், அந்த மாதிரி யூனிவர்சிட்டிஸ்லாம் வந்து ரேங்கிங்கில் ஐஐடியை விட நிறையவே இருக்குது. அண்ட் இன்னும் லிஸ்ட்டு நிறைய போகலாம். பட் வென் கம்ஸ் டு தேர் அந்த அளவுக்கு ஒரு யூனிவர்சிட்டி வரும்போது, ஏன்னா இப்போ சிவில் இன்ஜினியரிங்க்கு நான் பார்த்த வரைக்கும் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா எஸ் ஐஐடி பாம்பே, ஐஐடி மெட்ராஸ் கம்ஸ் அட் 51 to 100 bracketல வருது. பட் there's nothing confirmed. But there are several universities above the top 15 சொல்கிறோங்களே. இப்போ வந்து யூனிவர்சிட்டி அதான் சொன்ன மாதிரி தீஸ் யூனிவர்சிட்டிஸ் யூசி பெர்க்லி அந்த மாதிரிலாம். ஸோ அந்த டாப் 50க்கும் இந்த ஐஐடிக்கும் பண்ணுறதுல என்ன வித்தியாசம் வரப்போகுது? இன்கேஸ் இஃப் யூ டூ தேர் வில் கிவ் சம்திங் பெட்டர் எட்ஜ் ஆர் என்ன இருக்க போகுது? ஏன்னா இன்கேஸ் இஃப் ஐ டூ ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் இப்போ ஐடியில் நீங்கள் ஒரு மாஸ்டர்ஸ் ரிசர்ச் அந்த மாதிரி ஏதோ பண்ணுறீங்கன்ற ஒரு பாயிண்ட் ஆஃப் வியூ வச்சுட்டோன்னா, ஆஃப்டர் தட் வாட் இஸ் கோயிங் டு பி தி ஸ்கோப்? இப்போ வந்து இப்போ ஆர்என்டியில் வந்து நம்ம இது வந்து ஒர்க் பண்ணுறதுக்காக நம்ம அப்படி இப்படி பண்ணுறோம் அப்படின்னு இருந்தாலும், வாட் இஸ் கோயிங் டு பி தி நெக்ஸ்ட் அப்படின்ற மாதிரி ஒரு கொஸ்டின் வருதுல்ல. ஸோ விச் இஸ் பெட்டர்?
See, higher education வந்துட்டு if you're doing just for the sake, I'm pretty sure you're not, but many others might think, okay, higher education பண்ணிக்கலாம், ஒரு ME degree, MS degree இருந்தா நல்லா இருக்கும். That is actually waste of your money and your own time. But I believe that you want to learn, right? So உன்னோட point of view, if you want to learn, it totally depends on you. Because GCT you guys are here, and there are some people who got into GCT with very good 12th marks, but you guys know many of your friends might not be interested in engineering. Suma parents சொன்னாங்க, அவங்க சொன்னாங்க, இவங்க சொன்னாங்கன்னு வந்திருப்பாங்க. So any college, be it any college, what you're doing, how you are using the opportunity, that matters. So if you're going through IIT is very pressure. Okay, everything will they'll be putting it on you. If you can handle it, if you enjoy it, that's the place for you. That is very true. And if you are saying about UC Berkeley and Singapore University and those places also, it totally depends on how you are handling it. Okay, a college might be in the first ranking college, you can get into it, but if that doesn't do you well, if you are not able to relate to that college, then it's a waste. And foreign universities, நம்ம ரொம்ப search பண்ணி போறோம்னா exposure. Foreign university you will actually get a lot of exposure that you cannot get in India. Indiaல IITsல வந்துட்டு you get better exposure than GCT, but even that is not really great exposure. Foreign countries you'll get வேற level exposure. That is why we are actually preferring foreign countries and foreign education. The education உனக்கு வேல்யூ இருக்கும் கண்டிப்பா. ஓகே, இந்த யூனிவர்சிட்டியில படிச்சிருக்காங்க, but more than that you will get to learn, you will get to meet people, you will get to do a lot of field work, you will get to talk to a lot of people who are very awesome in their jobs. Even the professors will be like celebrities anga. They'll be really good at their jobs, and they'll be really ரொம்ப understand பண்ணி they'll know. So that is actually a thing. So don't look at the ratings. நீ திரும்ப I see that you're coming through 1 to 50, 50 to 100. Yes, ratings is there, but I'll tell you, ratings is not based on students. It is based on the college's reputation. College எவ்வளோ certificates வாங்கியிருக்காங்க, எவ்வளோ awards வாங்கியிருக்காங்க, எத்தனை பேர் PhD publish பண்ணியிருக்காங்க. These kind of things only they'll rank. அதை பேஸ் பண்ணி தான் they'll rank. They're not going to base it on students. So அதனால it's better if you go and research, and if you can actually LinkedIn. Now you have LinkedIn, a beautiful platform. You can go through LinkedIn, find a person who is studying, doing masters in that same college, IIT or any college that you want to, text them. Many people will text you back. So you can just ask them, how is the environment there? Can you share with me the syllabus? Talk to them. Actually, syllabus you can find online. Just talk to them, relate to them, see if that environment will suit you. If that way of research, their approach, because the approach is what is different from Indian colleges to foreign colleges. Indian or teaching method will be different, their teaching method will be different. Angalla if you're not studying, they're not gonna hold you accountable. Padiklana pona they'll leave. Inge abdi kadad padi they'll make you learn. So that is different. So which style suits you, what kind of learning suits you? But because by the end of the day, it's up to you if you're learning or not. Avladha. Okay, but if you have strong determination to learn, you can learn even here. You can become a very great R&D engineer just before finishing college itself. You can find the materials online. You can do everything that you want to do with the resources that you already have. So it's totally up to you and what is comfortable for you. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
ஒரே ஒரு திங்க்கா இப்போ
Yes.
நம்ம சாரி எனக்கு இன்னும் ஒரு திங் இப்போ என்னன்னா சிலபஸ்ல வந்து இப்போ ஃபோர்த் செமஸ்டர்ல டிசைன் கேட் கேம் லேப் வந்துச்சுக்கா. ஸோ இப்போ நம்ம பண்றது வெறும் இதோடய போயிடுதுக்கா. அதை தாண்டி அதுக்கு மேல எதுவுமே பண்றது இல்லையாக்கா? ஸோ இப்போ வந்து நாங்க எங்களுக்கு என்ன பண்ணோம், நாங்க டிசைன் மட்டும் போட்டோம். பட் நீங்க சிமுலேஷன் சொன்னீங்களா, ஆன்சிஸ்ல அந்த கலர் வச்சு நம்ம சிமுலேஷன்லாம் போடுவோம், ஸ்ட்ரெஸ் அதிகமா கம்மியா இருக்குன்னு சொல்லிட்டு. ஸோ அந்த மாதிரி ஒரு எக்ஸ்போஷர் வந்து நம்ம காலேஜ்ல இப்போ சப்போஸ் வந்து நம்ம இப்போ நீங்க ரிசர்ச்னு சொன்னீங்கல்ல, இப்போ டிபார்ட்மெண்ட்லயே வந்து நிறைய இப்போ வந்து டிசைனுக்குன்னு தனியா எம்இல டிபார்ட்மெண்ட்லாம் இருக்குல்லக்கா. நம்ம காலேஜ்ல எம்இல டிபார்ட்மெண்ட்லாம் இருக்குல்ல. ஸோ ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸுக்கு அந்த மாதிரி இப்போ பிஇ படிக்கிறவங்களும் ஸோ அந்த மாதிரி ஏதாவது ஹெல்ப் பண்ணுவாங்களா? இப்போ நம்ம ஏதாவது இன்ட்ரெஸ்டடா இருந்து நம்ம ஏதாவது பண்ணி பார்த்தோம்னா, இப்போ நம்மளை விட அவங்களுக்கு டிசைன் நல்லா தெரியும். எம்இ படிக்கிறவங்களுக்கு டிசைன் நல்லாவே தெரியும் பிஇ படிக்கிறவங்கள விட, எம்இல பண்றவங்களுக்கு. ஸோ இப்போ ஒரு ஆர்என்டில ஒரு கம்பெனில போய் பண்றத இப்போ நம்ம வந்து பிஇ படிக்கும் போது நம்மளே டிசைன் போட்டு நம்மளே அனாலிசிஸ் பண்ணி ஒரு ப்ராடக்ட் டெவலப் பண்றதுக்கு ஏதாவது சான்சஸ் இருக்கா காலேஜ்ல இருந்து?
Okay, காலேஜ்ல இருந்துனா I'll be very honest with you. You cannot do it without a company support. Okay va? Because I told you la ஒரு ப்ராடக்ட் நீ டெவலப் பண்ற ஒரு சின்ன ப்ராடக்ட் like something that is as small as a project na you can do it in college with the help of staffs. But if you're developing, for example, a pump எடுத்துக்கோ, if you need to develop a pump ஒரு புது engineers design நீ மார்க்கெட் கொண்டு வரனா, you need research. ஏற்கனவே என்னென்னலாம் இருக்கு, சரி என்ன நீட் இருக்கு, இதெல்லாம் வந்து உனக்கு தெரியணும். இதுக்கெல்லாம் நிறைய டேட்டா வேணும். இது வந்துட்டு you cannot collect on your own. You need a company, or உனக்கு கம்பெனி வேணா நீயே பண்ணணும்னா journals. You know like Google Scholar, I hope everyone knows what Google Scholar is. Go there, read lot of journals regarding whatever you like, whatever topic you like. So journals vandu you can research. If you want to do a product, that's actually a really good idea, but you have to research what's there in the market already. That is what's going to help you. So if for 1 month you have time to make a product, now 15 days you have to research only. அது பண்ணாம ஃபர்ஸ்ட் டேவே ஒரு பேப்பரே பென் வச்சுட்டு என்னன்னு you can't just think. Research is very important. So just read journals. If you're ஒரு ஐடியா வச்சுக்கோ, ஓகே இந்த டொமைன்ல ஓகே பைப்பிங்லனா வந்துட்டு ஒரு ப்ராடக்ட் டெவலப் பண்ணணும் அப்படின்னா, decide that, read a lot of journals, at least 100 journals. I'm not kidding, 100 journals. I had an internship last year. Na internship we had to develop a different system type of welding. So weld develop பண்றதுக்கு I was made to read 100 journals. என்னோட பாஸ் வந்து டெய்லி ஜேர்னல் அனுப்பிட்டே இருப்பாரு. ஒரு 1 வீக்ல நான் 100 journals ரீட் பண்ணேன். ஸோ அது ரீட் பண்றப்ப எனக்கு கடுப்பா இருந்துச்சு, என்னடா டெய்லி ரீட் பண்ண வைக்கிறாங்க, அது ஒன்றும் புரியவும் புரியாது. பட் தி திங் இஸ் ஜேர்னல்ஸ் 7 pages தான் இருக்கும். ஐ ரோட் ஆன் ஆல் த கீவேர்ட்ஸ், என்னென்னலாம் வேர்ட்ஸ் வருதோ எனக்கு புரியாத வேர்ட்ஸ் எல்லாம் எழுதி வச்சு அதுக்கப்புறம் அதை தனியா கூகுள் பண்ணி ஐ ரோட் டவுன் அண்ட் அதுக்கப்புறமா தான் ஐ வாஸ் ஏபிள் டு அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்ட், ஓகே திஸ் இஸ் வாட் ஐம் சப்போஸ் டு டூ, பிகாஸ் அது வரைக்கும் ஐ வாஸ் க்ளூலெஸ். So do the research and then get a good faculty's help. For example, mechanical தானே Bradish Murthy sir, Ramesh sir la, he has published like 20 journals at least. So in the mari staffs who are like very much invested in the subject and very much willing to help students, அவங்கள அப்ரோச் பண்ணுங்க. நோ யுவர் ஸ்டாஃப்ஸ், யார் ஹெல்ப் பண்ணுவாங்கன்னு சொல்லிட்டு. யார் நல்லா பேசுவாங்க நம்ம கிட்டன்னு பார்க்காதீங்க, யாருக்கு ஸ்டஃப் இருக்கு, எந்த ஸ்டாஃப் வந்து நம்மளுக்கு ஹெல்ப் பண்ணுவாங்க, அந்த ஸ்டாஃப்ட போய் ஆஸ்க் தெம் சஜஷன்ஸ். கான்ஃபிடென்ட்டா பேசுங்க, என்ன வேணும், இதுக்கு ஹெல்ப் வேணும் சொல்லிட்டு. பிகாஸ் வென் யூ பப்ளிஷிங் அ ஜேர்னல் ஆர் இஃப் யூ ஆர் டூயிங் சம்திங், யூ நீட் த ஹெல்ப் ஃபார் லேப் எக்யூப்மெண்ட்ஸா இருக்கட்டும், இல்லை பப்ளிஷர் வந்து கான்டாக்ட் பண்றதா இருக்கட்டும், தேல் ஹாவ் கான்டாக்ட்ஸ், தேல் நோ பீப்புள். ஸோ நம்மளா தனியா எடுத்து பண்ண முடியாது, அதுக்கு வந்து கண்டிப்பா ஒரு ஸ்டாஃபோட ஹெல்ப் வேணும். ஸோ ஃபஸ்ட்டு யூ நோ வாட் யூ ஹேவ் டு டூ, யூ டூ யோர் ரிசர்ச் அண்ட் ஸ்டாஃப்ட்ட போய் காமிங்க, நான் இவ்வளோ ரிசர்ச் பண்ணியிருக்கேன் சார், இந்த மாதிரி நான் ஒரு ப்ராடக்ட் பண்ணலான்னு ஐடியாவில் இருக்கேன், நீங்கள் சொல்லுங்கன்னு சொல்லி அவங்களோட சஜஷன் வாங்குங்க. தென் யூ கேன் ப்ரொசீட். இல்லைனா ஒரு கம்பெனியில் கூட யூ கேன் ஆஸ்க், உங்களுக்கு தெரிஞ்ச ஒரு கம்பெனியில் யாராச்சும் இருக்காங்கன்னா அவங்கள்ட்ட போய் கேட்கலாம், நீங்கள் ஒரு சஜஷன் பண்ணலாம், இப்படி நான் ஒரு ப்ராஜெக்ட் பண்ணுறேன், ஸோ உங்களுக்கு கொஞ்சம் உங்கள் கம்பெனியில் வந்துட்டு ஏதாச்சும் டீட்டெயில்ஸ் தர முடியுமா, இல்லை ஏதாச்சும் ஐடியாஸ் தர முடியுமான்னு யூ கேன் ஆஸ்க். இஃப் யூ நோ என்ன ஏதாச்சும் இன்ஃப்ளூயன்ஸ் இருந்துச்சுன்னா யூ கேன் ஆஸ்க். தட் வில் பி வெரி ஹெல்ப்ஃபுல். அந்த மாதிரி கம்பெனிஸ்க்கு ஹேண்டில் பண்ணி வாங்கினீங்கன்னா.
அப்படி கேட்டேன்னா அவங்க மொத்தமா தருவாங்களாக்கா? எப்படி என்னென்ன சேஞ்சஸ் பண்ணிருக்காங்க இந்த லாஸ்ட் ஃபியூ இயர்ஸ்ல என்னென்ன மொத்தமா கொடுத்துருவாங்களா?
அப்படிலாம் தரமாட்டாங்க. அவங்களோட பர்சனல் திங்ஸ் தே won't give, but they can give you suggestions, they can give you insights, அவ்வளவுதான். they will not hand over any official document to you. கையில எதுவுமே கொடுக்க மாட்டாங்க, பிடிஎஃப் கூட கொடுக்க மாட்டாங்க. they can help you. இந்த மாதிரி இருக்குன்னு வாயில they can say, because அது அவங்களுக்கு லீகலா நிறைய ப்ராப்ளம் வரும். so if you know someone ஏதாச்சும் கம்பெனில தெரிஞ்சவங்க இருந்தாங்கன்னா you can do that. It's a very creative idea. You can just, it's like no one will be pushing you to do all these things. In self interest la you should be able to do all this. So don't lose that self interest, don't lose hope. College la வந்து எல்லாம் டல்லா இருக்கு, sometimes it will feel like that. என்ன இந்த ஸ்டாஃப்மே அப்படியே ரொம்ப புக் ஓரியன்டடாவே இருக்காங்க, யாரும் ப்ராக்டிக்கலா சொல்லி தர மாட்டாங்கன்னு sometimes it will feel. But what we can do is we can take interest, learn on our own. Don't lose that hope. நிறைய ஹோப்ஸோட காலேஜ் வந்திருப்பீங்க, டோன்ட் லூஸ் தட். என்னடா இது, எல்லாருமே நம்மளும் கஷ்டப்பட்டு படிக்கிறோம், பட் ஆன்லைன் எக்ஸாம்ன்றனால எல்லாரும் பாஸ் ஆயிடுறாங்க, நம்ம படிச்ச என்ன வேஸ்ட்னு. நீங்க படிக்கிறது மார்க்குக்காக இல்லை, நாலேஜ்க்காக. ஸோ டோன்ட் லூஸ் தட் ஸ்ட்ரென்த், டோன்ட் லூஸ் தட் ஹோப், ஜஸ்ட் கீப் ஆன் கோயிங், இட் வில் கெட் யூ சம்வேர்.
அக்கா ஃப்ரீ டைம்ல லேப்ஸ் எல்லாம் இப்போ மேனுஃபேக்சரிங் லேப்ஸ் எல்லாம் இருக்குல்லக்கா, அதெல்லாமே வந்து ஃப்ரீ டைம்ஸ்ல உங்க ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸ் யாராவது யூஸ் பண்ணிருக்காங்க? ஏன்னா இப்போ நீங்க முடிச்சிருக்கீங்க, நீங்களும் ப்ராஜெக்ட் பண்ணிருப்பீங்க. ஸோ பண்ணும் போது உங்க செட்ல இருக்கிற அண்ணாங்கெல்லாம் ஏதாவது ஒருத்தங்க, இப்போ நான் கேட்ட மாதிரி அவங்க ஏதாவது ஒன்று டெவலப், உங்க செட்ல யாராவது ஒருத்தங்க டெவலப் பண்றதுக்கு இந்த மாதிரி லேப்ஸ் எல்லாம் யூஸ் பண்ணிருக்காங்களா? லேப்ஸ் யூஸ் பண்ணி ப்ராஜெக்ட்ஸுக்கெல்லாம், அதாவது காலேஜ் போக
பண்ணியிருக்காங்க. எங்க டீம்லயே ஒருத்தவங்க நெய்வேலி லிக்னைட் கார்பரேஷன்ல போய் பண்ணாங்க, இண்டஸ்ட்ரியல் ப்ராஜெக்ட்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. ஸோ வாட் இஸ் இண்டஸ்ட்ரியல் ப்ராஜெக்ட்னா, யூ டை அப் வித் இண்டஸ்ட்ரி, இண்டஸ்ட்ரியில உன்னை ஒரு ப்ராஜெக்ட்ல அப்பாயிண்ட் பண்ண சொல்லி அந்த ப்ராஜெக்டை நீ வந்து காலேஜ்லயே சப்மிட் பண்ணிக்கலாம். ஸோ இண்டஸ்ட்ரியல் ப்ராஜெக்ட் அப்படி பண்ணியிருக்காங்க. ஆர் வெளியே லேப்ஸ்ல போய் வந்துட்டு எங்க பேட்ச்ல யாரும் பண்ணலன்னு நினைக்கிறேன், பட் எம்இ ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ்னால அப்படிதான் பண்ணுவாங்க. they have to submit a research paper, only then they can graduate, right? So ME students எல்லாமே அது பண்ணுவாங்க. So you can, but in the lockdown situations la I don't know how much that will help you, but yeah, that's actually very good thing to do. Just use this lockdown time, அதுதான் இந்த மாதிரி பிளான் பண்றதுக்கு. if you want to do that, yeah, plan that, and when lockdown releases, like execute it. அந்த மாதிரி this time is really good for you to plan everything that you're going to do. Any other doubts, any other questions?
அக்கா LinkedIn ID
என்னோட LinkedIn ஐடியா I'll have to share that link only. Wait a minute. Any other questions? வேற யாருக்காச்சு?
I think so, no ka.
Okay, I'll share my LinkedIn ID. அது வரைக்கும் can you guys wait 2 minutes? Where's my LinkedIn ID? Okay. Okay, I'll put that in the comment section, and you guys can contact me through LinkedIn, or if you want my number, you can ask Sujita. Okay? Thank you for your time.
Participants can give a feedback about the session. We are at the end of the session. In this moment, I heartily thank to Ms. Acshah Joy Ponmani to share her knowledge and valuable time with us. Also, on the behalf of TDC committee, it's time to extend our sincere gratitude to you Miss Acshah Joy Ponmani. Thank you for making this session wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you, Benusha. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Ka.
Thank you.
To accomplish great things, we must not only act but also dream, not only plan but also believe. I thank our participants. Without you guys, it won't have been possible. Quiz forms have been shared in the chat box. Participants are asked to give suggestions and fill the quiz accordingly. E-certificate will be provided for everyone. For more updates, visit our club's social media pages and website ysugct.in.
Participants who have filled the form can leave the meet field free.
Thank you all.
Thank you all.
Thank you so much for spending your valuable time with us, Ka, and it's a small token of gratitude from us.
Thank you, Sujita.
Thank you, Akka.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ka, for your
Thank
valuable
you.
session. Ka.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye.
Really enjoyed it, Ka, session.
Yeah. Thank you.
And it's very informative, Ka.
Thank you, dear. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Bye. I'll be leaving.
Yes,
Bye.
Ka.
Bye.
Bye, Ka.
Arun recording stop.